So far this weekend on RaceSpotTV, it has all been about speed. Yesterday, just 8 1,000ths of a second separated drivers in the 6th annual iRacing.com Indianapolis 500. Today, we head ourselves to Monza. We head ourselves to even more pure speed in the Skip Barber 2K World Cup, and our coverage will start after these messages. If you want to talk about speed, you talk about two places in the world. You talk about the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and you talk about Monza, set just outside of Milan in Italy. Now, Monza has the distinction of having the closest ever finish to a Grand Prix race. It was insane back in the late 1960s, early 1970s, as drivers would go flat out throughout the first chicanes of the racetrack, and that is exactly what we're doing here today, here in the Skip Barber 2K World Cup. These cars, they're slow enough that they can get away with running flat out through these chicanes. We're not running the oval, we're just running it how it used to be back in the late 1960s and 1970s, as we welcome you to qualifying here on RaceSpotTV. Will Vincent along with Cam Walsh, and well, Cam, we've been gawking at these cars, shall we say, during qualifying, because there has been cars literally having two wheels off the racetrack down at the point that they work themselves what would be the second chicane.
Well, Will, that is absolutely right. The rear tires of all of the things to get into the airborne is what's happening. It seems to be like skipping off of the bottom plate there, and it loads the suspension and it throws the rear wheels into the air. Should be quite exciting. It's exciting enough to see one car do it, but it should be exciting enough to see two or maybe even three try and do it all at the same time.
Well, let's have a look on board with Riku Alatalo. We'll turn that car around and we'll show you pretty much exactly what we mean. We've got that speed chart up for you as well. 200 kilometers an hour down into that second chicane. Just listen to the engine note here. A lift. And I mean just a lift of that car into that second chicane. Now, they're not taking it flat out, Cam, and that, in some ways, makes it just a little bit safer. But, at the same time, that is still wicked, wicked fast.
It is, and Riku almost lost it off of the rejoining where the second chicane finishes. So, yeah, quite dramatic driving here in the Skip Barber cars. It is definitely going to be an interesting race for sure. We've got about 30 some odd cars practicing. We'll see who takes up the qualifying, and boy, that's going to be tight close already. I can tell just by looking at the times here in practice.
Well, we'll get our first set of qualifying times up on your screen in a moment. There's a look then at Johan Halberg. Now, it is worth noting that the championship's already sorted out. Mikko Nassi is your champion for this season. Of course, Felipe Perbola, a valiant fight. He wasn't able to go for victory. There you can see Johan Halberg working himself towards the start-finish line. Let's get a look then at his lap time as he works himself past the start-finish line. Those times coming up on the left-hand side of your screen, starting any second now. And for Johan Halberg, well, it looks as though that he is not actually going to get a time in. We'll get confirmation of that one in one moment. But we've got ourselves more drivers coming past start-finish line in a minute. Chris McGowan is going to be one of those. There you can see then, times coming through. Brian Dahl, left-hand side of your screen. First driver underneath, 1 minute 59 is Neil Kemp. Chris McGowan will complete a lap in 2 minutes, .386. Where is Mikko Nassi? He's working himself now down into the Parabolica, the Curva Parabolica, the famous final corner on the racetrack. Out of that one he comes in his number 25 car. And of course, as we said, he has already got himself the championship. Just one driver into that 1 minute 59 range already. That is Neil Kemp, although we do expect Mikko Nassi to head on to that point any second now. A 1:59.665. The champion isn't slowing down at all there, Cam.
No, he absolutely is not. He's got 4/10 to make up just to get to his practicing time, so we'll have to see whereabouts he comes in. And he didn't even finish first in practice, so this will definitely be interesting to see where Mikko starts. And I have to say, qualifying, well, actually, we don't have to worry about the chicane, so you don't have to worry about everybody stopping, but still, positioning on the track is very important, especially when you've got this many cars. And this short of a race, only 18 laps here at Monza, which may seem like an eternity in the Skip Barber car, but really doesn't give you a lot of time to maneuver through the field, so qualifying is important as ever here.
Well, there is a look. You can see the oval, which once circulated this racetrack and was a part of the racetrack for many, many years. It's the only other oval, except for Indianapolis, that was run for the first, well, 10 years really of Formula One's existence. The Indianapolis 500 was actually run as a race in the FIA Formula One World Championship. It just wasn't really driven by many of those drivers in Formula One due to very different rule regulations compared to what the FIA used and what was used over in America. There's your history lesson for today, ladies and gentlemen, as Felipe Burr, his first lap, a 2:00.162. He isn't going anywhere quickly. Johan Halberg, let's have a look at him then. He works himself past start finish line. He can only do P number 19. Brian Dahl, though, to the top of the timing stand for the time being, 1:59.624. Neil Kemp goes a little bit faster just behind him. There you can see him down in towards turn 1. He has done his qualifying pretty much, and well, this is getting entertaining now, Cam.
Oh, that it is. These guys still are in the 159s. We have to see where Mikko Nassi comes through as he comes through Parabolica. Seems to be on a good lap right now, already hitting over 100 miles an hour before the pit wall, so we'll have to see what he does as he comes through the line. It'll be right here at the post, and it will be a
1:59.123.
1:59.1. So he goes to the top of the rack right now. I believe he's got, well, I believe he's done. I don't really know who else is on the track that could possibly challenge him, as it doesn't look like Riku Alatalo is doing some, oh, he is qualifying. Yes, he is. He could actually cross the line right now. And Riku Alatalo doesn't get a lap in, so must have gone off somewhere.
Yeah, as you can see, we've got ourselves a couple of other drivers now. Qualifying will finish at some point pretty soon. So we can see that Mayer ready in the number 194 car, all the way down in P number 18. He has done one lap. This is his second lap that he's going to try and complete any moment now, just heading himself down towards the Parabolica himself. Out of that corner he will come, and then he will work himself towards the start-finish line to complete his qualifications process for this event. Let's have a look then. We'll get that graphic up on the right-hand side of your screen. He looks so he's slowing down, actually. So he does a 2:00.060 for Mayer ready. P number 13 on the grid for the time being. I think that pretty much is everyone in the field. We've got ourselves Brooks Laureate there, working himself past the stripe. He's currently in P number 24. He moves up into P number 15 at the end of qualifications. And Arjun Verde there in the number 207 car now works himself 2-cam out the final corner.
Yes, and everybody seems to be doing a fairly good job. Haven't seen too many incidents. There were a couple of people that might have spun out, but ultimately everyone getting their qualifying laps and looking very good. Eric Mackey actually stuck in the wall right now, but Mayor Reddy still hot on his lap. Takes the chicane. I think he might have gotten all 4 off of that one on the second chicane that they skipped. But Mayor Reddy looks to be on it, actually. He actually loses the rear end of that car, and that is definitely not going to help out your lap time, Will.
Nope, but he pretty much now everyone has done their qualification process here today, so there is no drivers that I can see other than Riku Alatalo, who works himself out the final corner now. And you see Alatalo there, his previous lap 4:37 apparently, according to our timing and scoring. But well, he now comes down towards the start-finish line, and he will do a time of pole position, 158.448. That is what we call stunned silence.
I believe so. I'm not quite sure how you go almost a full second faster than everybody, but we'll have to take a look at that lap for a real second.
That was 6/10 of a second faster than your series champion, Riku Alatalo, scores pole position for today's event. Absolutely insane stuff there. Now, qualifications is pretty much complete. We've just got ourselves a couple of drivers we're just seeing laps finish for. Antoine Drouin is one of those. I'm not sure if he's going to make it to the start-finish line in time. Qualifications should be over any second now. But what we will do, ladies and gentlemen, is we can provisionally run through your starting grid for this round number 11 of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup here, exclusively live on RaceSpotTV, as the checkered flag is now indeed out, and we can indeed run yourselves through that starting grid. On pole position then, it is going to be the driver of Riku Alatalo, 158.448. That is why he runs in the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series. Mikanasi alongside him, front row of the grid. It's an all-finish lockout. Neil Kemp in third. Brian Dow in the 4th position. Peter Clayson in P number 5. Preplay Burr in 6th. Ricardo Ferrer, Ian Bonnet at P number 7, P number 8. Then Carford Pye and Andrew Sruer in P number 9 and P number 10. Paul Malocus, Chris McGowan in 11th and 12th. Miguel Unstrom in 13th. Maya Reddy 14th. Andres Mort and Brooks Lurt there in row number 8. Frank Winter, Will Fisher row 9, and Arjun Verde and Rob Adams in row 10. There is the rest of your qualifying grid. 28 of them running, and there we can see the last 4 drivers, 32 in total. Michelle Mancusi doesn't set a time. The last 4 drivers don't set a time, and we don't know whether or not they will be partaking in today's event. Well, Riku Alatalo, he kind of stole one there from everyone here at Circuit Monza. This is a magnificent racing facility. We've had a couple of overhead looks again. We'll get ourselves another quick one. As you can see there, a look up above our aerial coverage brought to you today by And One Design. As these drivers any moment now will get themselves ready to go racing in this round number 11 of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup. Just waiting for the last couple of drivers to head themselves then down on towards your starting grid. Now, we do know that occasionally you get yourself a couple of cautions. This is one race with no chicanes, flat out racing. You might just get one. Who knows? We'll find out over the course of the next 45 minutes here on RaceSpotTV, your home for Skip Barber Racing every Sunday and Monday night. Low lights going on top of the iRacing.com gantry. This round number 11 will start right now. And oh, Riku Alatalo stole it on the grid. Alatalo has stalled it on the starting grid there. You can see, oh, upside down and around he goes. Most of the drivers try to avoid him. Caution is out, Cam.
Yes, it is. It does not, I'm not sure what happened there. I don't know if he missed a gear or not. Apologizes in the chat. But ultimately, though, stalling it right on the first position. The first about 15 cars got through fine, but ultimately, the first car that had nowhere to go was Michael Engstrom.
We'll get ourselves a replay of that one for you. Mikael Engstrom there, you can see down, and he just got the back end of that one, spinning that car around in that number 2 100 car, getting himself more damage there. Not a good day for him at all. We'll get ourselves another look at this one then, as drivers getting themselves ready for the start of this event. Your front place driver, Riccardo Talo, just simply doesn't go. You can see the first couple of drivers, they all swam to avoid, just like Sebastian Saavedra in the inaugural Grand Prix of Indianapolis just 1 year ago. Armstrong comes around, a number of drivers get turned around. We are quite rightly under caution. We are lucky that there was only a couple of drivers involved in that one. That could have been so much more severe, Cam.
Oh, that it could have been, and now you got to try and figure out what exactly you're going to do. I mean, you've got 5 or 6 cars that are now damaged, and now you're under caution. We'll have to see what's going on right there and see if we can't get back underway.
Well, there we can see the driver of Ricardo Ferro running himself in P number 5 right now. We're working ourselves under caution here on RaceSpotTV. That means we'll step aside for just a couple of moments and we'll show you what's coming up soon on iRacing, the one and only famous Nordschleifer.
We're so excited to be bringing the Nürburgring to everybody. It's by far the most requested track that we've ever had. I've been with iRacing since the beginning. I can't tell you how many people I've met at trade shows or racetracks and demos that we've done all across the United States and even in Europe. And it's always the most requested track that we've had. And it's always been kind of a sad answer, no, we don't have it. When are you bringing it? And we never really had a good answer. And obviously we announced this last year, and it's super exciting. I mean, it really is one of the premier tracks in the entire world.
The Nürburgring, to me as a race fan, is the holy grail of racetracks. Even from the gaming aspect, just getting that car around that track was a personal achievement by itself. It's kind of got this iconic status to it that makes it different than any other track in the world.
We actually have a lot of history with the Nürburgring, dating back about 20 years. We created a version of the track for Grand Prix Legends, which was a Formula One simulation for the PC. But this will be the first time that we've worked on the track with laser scan data, highly precise measurements, and of course the iRacing standards of quality. So we're really excited about this project and we can't wait to release it. There are 2 main facilities at Nürburgring. There's the Grand Prix course, which is basically a modern F1 style racetrack. And then there's the Nordschleife itself, which has been around for decades. And of course, the combined course, where you can take the Grand Prix course, drive around it, and then there's a point where you branch off onto the Nordschleife and you continue there all the way around the Nordschleife and then back down to the Grand Prix course. And the end result is an extremely large, unique racetrack. We arrived with a really large crew. Actually, 4 of us made the trip, and we spent a week there photographing the track, taking video recordings of the racetrack, the surroundings, the scenery, the towns. And when it's all said and done, we returned home with a massive amount of data. If you took our largest project ever, this is probably 4 times that size. So it's going to take a lot of work, but it's really our plan and our intent not to cut any corners and really produce and create the best version of the Nürburgring possible that we can. The terrain and topography of the area that surrounds the Nürburgring is really important to the character and accuracy and feel of the track. We're really working on new ways and methods and types of data that we can use to build the best topography and best terrain model possible. And it will be something never before seen in iRacing or racing sims in general. We have a laser scan of the track, and that laser scan is incredibly dense. Essentially, there's so many points that you could take a quarter and lay it on the laser points, and the quarter wouldn't fall through. So we're taking that level of detail from the scan, and we're trying to translate that into what you see in the sim.
You won't find the level of detail that we bring to tracks anywhere else. You guys expect that from us, and we'll continue to do that. It's not just purely laser scanned. It really will have personality, and I think that that's what's going to make our track unique.
You know what, ladies and gentlemen, it's taken us a while to get that entire commercial in, but we finally do. We're getting the 1 to go signal this time by 2 laps out of 18 scored complete here in the Skip Barber 2K World Cup on RaceSpotTV. Will Vincent along with Cam Walsh. Controversy at the start. Cam, just like Sebastian Saavedra back in the 2014 Angie's List Grand Prix of Indianapolis, the driver on pole position stalling from the grid. But there's more to this one than meets the eye here, because he looks as though he got himself a black flag. He was going to have to pull over to the end of the line. He was planning to do so, and there's some drivers who thinking he did it deliberately. He got himself a black flag for apparently cutting the track during his qualifying, hence him being 6 tenths of a second faster than anyone else. But it's shall we call it a calamity of errors here?
It certainly could be a calamity of errors. I'm, of course, no wizard. I can't figure these things out on my brain by myself here. But boy, it's just it's real rough. They were all talking beforehand, before that, the black flag, where he was just going to go and go to the end of the line. And perhaps somewhere in typing those messages out to each other through the text chat, something could have happened and that engine could have gotten killed. I'm not quite sure. But ultimately, though, when Rico Alatello went to go for it, nothing happened. And ultimately, we've collected 2 or 3 cars. A couple of cars who have been towed back to the pits, have been fixed back up, are getting waved around the pace car now. So hopefully everything will get back underway with as minimal trouble as possible. And we can go right back to a... well, to maybe what it should have been, and not a standing start and a full start, but ultimately here at Monza, though, we're about to get back underway, and, well, that's never a bad thing.
Oh, yes, and there you can see then Mikko Nassi on the front end of your grid right now, and there is your top 20 left-hand side of your screen as it stands. Nassi from Dole, from Clayson, from Labour, Farah, Bonnet, Kapai, Cirillo, Malokas, and McGowan. They are supposed to be your fastest lap times on the left-hand side of your screen, but of course everyone's been running under pace, so that's why they're all about 3 minutes and 22 seconds. This is the longest track of the season, Cam. Fuel saving could be interesting what these drivers have done here, whether they've lifted and coasted all the way down this backstretch.
Well, I mean, you can certainly gain a lot from manually saving as much fuel as possible. I was going to say 3 minutes, 20 seconds. Boy, these guys are ripping this track up now. Boy, that's just scorching. It definitely, saving fuel manually in these cars certainly matters. They're saying that most of it is going to be at least 1 pit stop. Well, obviously, at least 1 pit stop. Not many people, I don't think, are going to be going for 2, especially now. Now it definitely is a 1-stopper, and we'll have to see as the pace car approaches Parabolica at 60 miles an hour, what's going to happen in the next 16-lap race.
Yeah, and it is worth noting, generally it's always 1 stop to the end, but because of the last race change, a late race change, and I went from, not running the chicane to saying, go on guys, have some fun. Let's not be like the Formula 3 race yesterday. There is a possibility that some people were thinking about doing a 2-stopper just because of the fact that they wanted to run full power. Who knows? But let's not have it like the Formula 3 race yesterday. Let's get ourselves a good, quick, clean race in. Mikko Nassi from the front of the field, bringing the field back to the green flag here at Monza in the Skip Barber 2K World Cup. The green flag's in hand, and we once again go racing at this beautiful, magnificent racetrack in Italy. They're a single file, but not for long, as you can see already. 2 wide racing. Karthik Pai looking down to the inside as they come down in towards turn 1. That is off Orion Bonnet. Down to that first corner, 2 wide racing as well between Felipe Laber and Ricardo Farah. There is boom. You know what? I turned that camera around, Cam, as if they're braking for the first chicane. They're not. They're just going to brake a little bit there for the Curva Grande. But that shows you just how fast the first 20 seconds of a lap is.
Yes, I was kind of waiting for them to break into the chicane as well, but no, that did not happen. They all blow right past it. They're taking that left, going over this second chicane hump, and let's see if anybody loses it here, going too wide, but ultimately everybody getting through quite nicely so far. These are going to be some quick laps here, and it is going to be some quick, heavy, hard, and dirty racing.
There we are. So there we can see these fields starting to get a little bit weaving, and I'll tell you what, Cam, what would have been calamity of error part 2 is if someone had broken for that chicane down in the front end of your field. We've got 2 wide racing, Felipe Laber, Brian Dull down in towards the Curva Ascari. Felipe Laber on the outside, he will be braking for the chicane, and Felipe Laber looking as though he's got enough overspeed to move himself squarely into the corner.
Yes, as Philippe Labert goes into second position there, he is going to be looking very good right now, especially there's only one car in front of him, and we'll have to see if he can catch him. It's the man you can catch all season long, Nico Nassi, and those lime green rims. We'll have to see what he can do, but right now, two wide action between Peter Klassen and Brian Duell going into Parabolica.
Well, there we can see just behind Orion Bonnet battling it out with Carfrick Pie down into the Parabolica, too wide, too deep. Now, it's interesting to note here, Cam, this track has already been referred to a bit like a super speedway. Bump drafting is apparently banned for this race. We're getting like the 2008 NASCAR Talladega full race, but that's a safe option because you can very easily hook those front wings onto the rear wings, and for the first time, we are going free wide.
Well, that we are as they all go past the line there. I'm going to say once again that they're getting ready to set each other up for the chicane, but that is going to take a while to get that dialed out, as they are going to go blow right past that first chicane and start heading into the very first turn there, as they are still too wide, funneling down, even trying to look at 3 wide here. I do not think that this is, to say that this is going to be pack racing would be an understatement, and it is definitely going to bring an exciting show to everybody here.
Well, there you can see them just flipping themselves down into what would be the second chicane, down into Lesmo number 1. We ride on board then with Peter Clayson in the number 185 car, already onto lap number 5 of 18 here. Clayson working himself on the exit of Lesmo 1 down towards Lesmo 2. Now, this is actually the biggest braking zone of the lap here, Cam. We normally expect it to be into the Variante Alta, but actually Lesmo number 2 is now your biggest braking point.
When did Philippe Labert pass Nico Nassi?
I don't know, but he's still a race leader, so we can see him. Nassi is going to be coming back at him down in towards the Variante Ascari, but Philippe Labert does lead this race, and that's the whole thing about this. It's drafting. This series has had some good drafting sessions, but this is a pure draft fest, and it's going to be like Indy yesterday, Cam. You are going to have to be the sitting duck on the final lap if you're in first position.
Well, that it is, but boy, this is going to be real exciting. If this is just one big pack of racing, for sure, in these Skip Barber 2000 cars, but ultimately, look at everybody still back together. The very first gap going into the Parabolica here on lap 5, Mayor Raddi is leading that second pack, somebody getting chased way down to the inside of Parabolica there in the back of the field, but ultimately, though, everybody is still trying to stay together, and that is going to be quite a show as we finish out lap number 5. We'll have to see whether Nico Nassi can get this pass completed before the first turn, which it does look like he will have that done, and Ricardo Ferraria is looking to make it 3 wide for the lead already.
Yeah, there you can see Ricardo Ferrer right alongside Philippe Labert as they work themselves towards Curva Grande then. There you can see Curva Grande just ahead, and Ricardo Ferrer will have the inside line down into Curva Grande. He moves himself to the point, and now Philippe Labert is down into the 3rd position on the racetrack. So, Labert, after being first place at the line, moves himself down into 3rd position. Ricardo Ferrer in that AB racing car is now into that 1st position. We have got a couple of retirees, Cam. We've got 5 of them overall, but this 28 car field, well, it's still going strong. We have got 2 very distinct packs, however.
Well, that we do, and that split line right there is between, well, it was Mayor Raddi, but just like the front pack, he has gone down 2 positions. Brooks Larette leads this second field, and right now, that gap is probably over a second, as they're just kicking up a ton of dust on the exit of that corner there, but everybody's still, though, very much close together, unlike some of the other tracks we've seen where the really fast people absolutely blitz out ahead, but it looks like Ricardo Faria has managed to keep the lead this time by. We'll have to see. Maybe Philippe Labert will be back in the lead by the time we get back into turn 1.
Yeah, and the thing is, we talked about sitting ducks. We haven't yet talked about the other thing. Fuel saving. Some drivers can save a little bit of fuel, and on a track like this, on a day like this, these drivers will have to make 1 pit stop. If they save fuel on the pace laps whilst you're under caution, and they save a little bit of fuel in traffic, well, they can save themselves about a second, maybe even 2 on their pit stops, and that can be the difference between being where Paul Malocas is in P number 9 or inside your top 5 battling for the win.
Well, that's true, as they are going to be completing lap number 6, starting lap number 7. Faria still on the point. Mikko Nassi leaning out already, but ultimately it's going to be what Felipe Leibert does, is he will do exactly what Faria did before, and it looks like, once again, Massi is going to be held out, and Leibert is going to be going onto the inside line, which is just actually, as that silver and red car of Brian Duell is making this interesting from lap time by, and that leader, the leader at the line, is now back down in a 4th position. That right there is going to be very telling as to what these guys are going to be doing, as they are, of course, probing each other, too, to see exactly how racing does on this no chicane circuit.
So here we can see Mikko Nassi in P number 2 right now. And here's an interesting graphic that we don't normally make too much use of in these broadcasts. But Mikko Nassi's only ever been in P1 or P2 at the line here. There are some drivers deep down in the field who are going to be anywhere. But Peter Clayson's a perfect example here, Cam. As high as P9, as low as P number 9 in today's event. You're going to get a lot of swapping of positions. And what that means is you can't get too frustrated.
No, you must be patient here. People are going to be passing you every single straight, and you're going to be passing people every single straight. So it's just a matter of being patient and trying to be strategic about where you're even putting your car, or how you're flinging your car into turn number 1 and exiting the final turn at Parabolica. Very important to do that, and that's not necessarily something that you encounter a lot, especially in open wheel formula cars.
Well, there you can see these drivers heading themselves down this magnificent back straightaway. There you can see the field, and there you can see them going 2, almost 3 wide down in your pack, down in towards that Parabolica, that final corner here on this racetrack. Get a look then all the way down your field as they cycle down into that corner. What a magnificent shot it is here, Cam. Wonderful camera angle. As you can see, the back end of your field, your top... just having a look, your top 22 drivers separated by 20 seconds on the racetrack. But you think about that, that's 26 drivers all scrapping it out 4 positions. There is a little bit of gaps between some of these drivers. They go 3 wide almost, down in towards turn number 1, the curve of Grande. Once again, it was Felipe Leibert leading up the line, but it's now Mikko Nassi back to the point.
Yes, and Brian Duell does look to the inside, but he doesn't get it now, as finally somebody with that patience has now broken the 3 wide line that has always happened the 3 laps before. Now Mikko Nassi is on the point. We'll have to see if he can't try and maneuver his way into a gap. He was able to pull a gap, but now Brian Duell now in 2nd place there, as he's managed to keep this gap, and this 4-car pack has absolutely checked out as far as how these cars have gone so far, from Peter Klassen, Aurelian Bonnet, Paul Malocas, and Angela Solero, with Karthik Pai finishing out almost the 2nd pack, and there's almost a 3rd pack. So really, these guys are getting spread out, but not to say from other cars, though.
Well, here is just one interesting thing, actually, where Tris McGowan will go back on board with him. And this is something worth bearing in mind, Cam. This track, even though these are the smallest cars that we probably have go to Monza on the iRacing.com service, they can barely go 3 wide at points of this racetrack. They can do 2 comfortably, 3 is more difficult. And Chris McGowan got boxed in on the run down into the Variante, the 2nd chicane. So because of that, what it meant is that he'd actually moved up ahead of Mayo Reddy, then had to fall back down in line because of the fact he was right up behind another driver, and that lane was blocked.
Yes, and I hate to use oval racing American terms here, but to say this isn't chess at high speed would be a fallacy. Yeah, I did. I went there. And it is. I mean, you're trying to figure out, okay, when we get to Parabolica, where is...
pit road.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, well, it is lap 9.
Yeah.
It is lap number 9, so we are halfway through this race already, which is just nuts to see how fast this is going. But it is going to be Mikko Nassi, Felipe Leibert, and whom else here? Ricardo Faria. Frank Winter, oh no, he's still on track, and Chris McGowan is also on pit road. So these guys are coming in, getting their fuel, and they'll be back underway. Now this is going to be very interesting to see what happens, because now you have an even smaller pack of fewer, faster cars.
Yeah, and let's have a look. It's going to be Felipe Leibert out ahead there on Mikko Nassi. So Leibert's not been able to do it all season long, and arguably on the race when it means less, Felipe Leibert beats Mikko Nassi in a straight fight out of pit road. That is gonna be awesome, as we can see there down in towards turn number 1. Felipe Leibert, Cam, all season long has lost out to Mikko Nassi. He does it for the first time all season here. yet it's the times that he doesn't need to.
Well, as we said, the championship has already been decided and the crown's already been given to the man in the lime green rims. But ultimately, though, I mean, it's still very good to see that. Philippe Labert wants to end his season on a very high note, and ultimately, as they launch their cars over the bump of the second chicane once again, he wants to end it very well. The rear end's almost wanting to kick out there on his Skip Barber car as he runs wide, but Mikko Nassi already in the hunt, and Ricardo Faria. So now we pretty much have a three-car pack, and we'll have to see, looking way back to the front of the field, as Brian Dewell is currently in the lead. If he wants to come into the pits this time by, he is alone and by himself. I'm not quite sure what he really...
He has to come in.
He absolutely has to, but really, he's got to be kind of bewildered right now as we were all getting into a lull. Well, crap, you're now running by yourself at a draft track as he does not come in.
Wow.
So he does another lap, staying out, but ultimately, as everybody behind him starts coming, well, most people start coming in behind him, at least a couple of cars, as there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars coming in now, but this is splitting the field up even more, and now this is when I start getting a headache because I'm not this smart.
Well, here's an interesting point to note. Last time by, Brian Dowell was 1 second slower than his fastest lap of the race. He is running all by himself right now. Karthik Pai is onto pit road as we get a lovely look there. What I believe is some Extraction fans. But there we can finally see Karthik Pai. Thank you very much, Italian TV crew. As Karthik Pai going to get himself 13.4 seconds out and away. Paul Malokas, 11.7 seconds. Much faster. 17.3 seconds there for Angelo Cirillia. We've also got the number 35 car there. Andreas Morch out and away. 13.5 seconds. Side by side. Out of pit road all the way to the wall there, Cam.
Well, hey, you know, we don't want to back down on your exit. Everybody getting back up to speed, and there's plenty of room on the left for the faster traffic to get through, as it will take a while for these guys to get back up to speed. But ultimately, though, Andreas Morch, though, getting that position over Angelo Solera as they came in. Andreas was 11th, and Angelo Solera was in 6th, so not a bad pit stop at all.
Yeah, and Andreas Morsch was so close there to hitting the green bollard, which you can actually follow on Twitter at the green bollard. So if you're going to be subbing each other on YouTube, why not also subscribe to the green bollard on Twitter? As there was a look there of Andreas Morsch coming out of pit road, but Peter Clayson stays out on the racetrack. Mayor Reddy is now on towards pit road. We're getting a look. Oh no, he's gone off. That's a 2-car incident down at the Variante Ascari there. Mayor Reddy's involved now. There's a second driver, I believe, involved, and we've got more contact carnage going on there as well. That is an incident that we just caught the rear end of. We need to get ourselves another look at that one, but May already involved in an incident there down at the Variate Ascari, and that one already started by the time we're having a look at this replay. But there's a secondary incident, I think, there as well. Drivers getting collected up in the melee, and I think it was a single car incident for May already that really started that one, Cam.
Well, it did, and Mayor Reddy had his incident, and the car following him, Aron de Reddy, had his incident as well following him, and that just started a kind of a chain reaction of all sorts of stuff, but ultimately I think everybody has gotten underway. I'm not sure if anybody at all picked up damage, unless there's a part of this incident I'm not seeing.
Well, Brian Dahl is on towards pit road. The incident that we saw there with Reddy is very similar to what happened to Enzo Benito in this race at the World Championship Series. Dahl out of pit road. Let's have a look to where he is compared to Philippe Labert, Mikko Nassi. You know what? He's done the impossible here. He's gone out ahead of them, Cam.
Well, Mikko Nassi finds a way to do what he does best. And where are they now? I can't even find them.
Dahl is working himself through the Curva Grande. Mikko Nassi is a second back. Now, the issue is, Nassi is going to catch. That gap is already down to 0.8 of a second. But Brian Dahl, even though he pitted 3 laps later, is leading this motor race. Well, overall.
They are. Well, overall, yeah. I mean, up until they all come in and finish everything, which they should soon. I believe, yeah, Brian Dewell hasn't come in and pitted yet.
He has. He's just pitted.
He has.
Frank Winter's
pitted. He just pitted, yep.
Frank Winter, Michelle Mancusi, and Ryan Delvin haven't yet pitted. Dowell has just pitted. Mikko Nassi has already, closed that gap down from 1 second down to 0.2 of a second on the exit of the Variante Ascari as they now work themselves down towards... No, actually, that's the exit of Lesmo 2. Now down towards the Variante Ascari. And now Brian Dowell is under pressure from Mikko Nassi right on board of him. And look at how easy this is for Brian Dowell down in towards that third chicane. And he will move himself past down in towards the Variante Ascari. He's now up into the what will be the race lead once Winter, Mancusi and Delvin come on towards pit road.
Yes, that was easy for Miko Nasi, not Brian Dwell, as he had to concede that position, but now Felipe Leibert wants a part of this, as well as Faria, and we thought that maybe pitting was going to have a big effect on this one, yet we still have the first 4 cars being just that, the first 4 cars.
Well, here we can see Frank Winter is on pit road as we speak. So there you can see the last of your 3 drivers. Actually, no, we've got 1 driver still to pit. That is Ryan Delvin. But we've now got Frank Winter onto pit road in that number 188 machine. He is going to do his service. That is going to be some fuel for him. No tyres in this series, of course. 11.9 seconds out and away. Michelle Mancusi in towards pit road as well. And there we can see it's a longer stop there for Mancusi. 17 seconds out and away he goes. Ryan Delvin, the only driver not to make a pit stop in the front end of your field. There are some people at the rear end of the field having not made a pit stop, Cam, but they are all the way down in P number 18 and beyond.
Yes, I think after that early incident there involving the stalled car just created a lot of massive chaos, and ultimately the people in the back there not really able to recover, especially after that restart, as I can only imagine you can only take so many cars along with you in the draft. But right now, though, everyone up front, we have an action.
Oh, there's 2 cars. There's Brian Dole involved in that one. There's another driver involved as well. Brian Dole, and there's a 2-car incident. There's one other driver.
Okay, I see
that is the drivers are 2. Ryan Delvin there. Ryan Delvin involved. That was down at the first Lesmo. We do stay green for the time being, but that one was almost a multi-car incident whilst working through lapped traffic, Cam.
Well, that it was, and Ryan Devlin was in 3rd position. You'll have to back up to where the second chicane is, and just as we've been talking all race long about getting your car airborne here, this car getting so light on fuel, all 4 tires left into the air, and that car was completely out of control, wrapped himself around the Armco on the left-hand side, and ultimately, though, he straightened that car out and went back on track, and that is when, almost an extremely close, almost would have been race ending for Philip Leibert, as well as Miko Nasi, but ultimately it caught out Brian Dewell as it just started a chain reaction with the first 4 cars, and that's the last thing you want to do as a car that's up front and about to go pit, is take out some of the leaders.
Well, Philippe Leibert leads this motor race. It is now a 2-horse race. It's between Miko Nasi and Philippe Leibert. Tête à tête, les personnes avec les personnes. I can't speak Italian, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, as they work themselves down in towards the Curva Grande. Once again, there will be 5 laps to go. The next time they cross the start-finish line, and we've been wanting this one all season, a pure duo between Miko Nasi, Philippe Leibert. Cam, are you ready to set up your photo finish camera?
I might be. It's still developing the film from yesterday's event, but ultimately, though, this is definitely going to be a battle that has been going on, certainly for the most part of the season. But as these cars start coming down on their fuel, we'll have to see as they're going to be pushing each other to lift less and less over that second chicane hump, and we'll definitely might have some room for some drama. And Ricardo Faria, who's in 3rd, might be able to benefit if these 2 guys have an incident. But right now, it's Nasi versus Leibert, and it is going to be a very exciting finish.
Well, 13 laps out of 18 scored complete here on the 11th round of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup here on RaceSpotTV. If you are a new member to iRacing, don't forget, you can get yourselves 3 months for just $12. All the free content and the 4GT, that is Cam Walsh's favourite car. You get both the GT2 and the GT3 models for extra benefit. All you need to do, Cam, is use that promo code you see on your screen, which is PR-RaceSpotLive.
Now, Wild, am I able to use this promo card?
Nope, because it's only for new members.
Well, good for those new members. Unfortunately, I'm not new. I've been here for 3 years. It's a great car, that Ford GT3, but also Mercedes having joined that. But now this isn't the time to talk about tin cars, as we are exiting Parabolica now, and Felipe Leibert has only 1 car in front of him. Those are the lime green rimmed cars of that Skip Barber car and of Miko Nasi. We'll have to see. I almost wonder, I don't know if they'll have enough room by the line. Oh, that is going to be super close, going a couple laps ahead now to see. That is going to be very close. I'm not sure Felipe Leber would be able to drag race him to the finish, so it might just be whoever is able to take the lead in the final lap.
I think you've got to do it down in Ascari. You've got to make the pass in Ascari if you want to get yourself the race lead for the victory. The gap last time by, well, it was 0.2 of a second. It was 0.208, and we are going to talk about thousandths of a second, because you know what, yesterday someone won the Indy 500. That was the driver of Cam Stark by 0.008. Felipe Leber has actually got the biggest lead all race long. Has Miko Nassi made a mistake? I think he might have done, because he there, 1.3 seconds, he has dropped back here. I think he might have got a slow down penalty for exceeding the track limits, Cam.
Well, we'll definitely have to go back and take a look here, but boy, that's dramatic, as actually it looks like they're coming through the second chicane. The gap was already there coming into the second chicane. What has happened to Miko Nassi? As I haven't seen a spot where he has gone off track. It looks like he tried to go on the inside through that second chicane, and ultimately I almost think he unsettled that car, and he had to get back way out in order to keep it safe and lost an absolute ton of gap. That, or maybe Felipe Leber just finally bowled his way through that second chicane hump, and he has gained, certainly is now. That is quite a gap. Not sure if he can lose him, but, well, with 4 laps to go, we'll have to find out.
Orion Bonnet running in P number 6, looking to go 3 wide as they work themselves down and towards the Parabolica. He's taken 1, he's taken 2, down into the Parabolica. This is incredible stuff there. The TNT racing car. 2 drivers, 1 straight away into the Parabolica. There will be 4 laps to go up the line. Orion Bonnet then working himself. Catholic Pie looking back down to his inside. Now this is going to be an interesting thing to watch here. We're going to cycle that camera around. You're right. I don't think you can do it at the line. You've got to make the move, just like Orion Bonnet did, either into the Ascari chicane or on the exit on the way down in towards the Parabolica, Cam.
Well, that's for sure, and Miko Nassi still 1 second behind. He should have enough time to catch up. Ricardo Faria on his own. I almost wonder if this whole pack of Peter Clausen, Aurelien Brillant, Pai, and Malaukas can catch Faria, as that is only about a 3-second, 4-second gap. That shouldn't be crazy to make up, especially when you've got the draft and the car in front of you does not, which we can see in pretty much any draft car. But, boy, this is just getting to be quite an exciting battle, and I think there's some forces at work here that not many of these Skip Barber pilots might be used to as far as strategy goes.
Well, don't forget, tomorrow night we do this all over again in the Club UK Ireland Skip Barber Racing School Series, which lives here on RaceSpotTV. Racing funds for Shelter, the official charity of Will Vincent, running in the 2015 London Marathon. Orion Bonnet working himself side by side once again on Peter Clayton as they work themselves down in towards the Ascari chicane. There's the number 185 car. He makes that move down into Ascari, but here is the interesting thing. Does the opportunity present itself for Bonnet to move himself back up the position before the Parabolica, Cam?
I think he might have that. He's pushing Peter Clausen real hard through the final, the exit to that corner, and he is going to be on the inside, and it does look like he will, in fact, make that pass. But also, look at how much they're closing on Ricardo Faria, as Miko Nassi has caught and passed, actually, Felipe Leber going through Parabolica. But Leber, with the exit off of Parabolica, should definitely retake that position as we enter just 2 laps to go.
Yeah, at the line, it was very, very close. I'm waiting for it to come up on my screen. 0.154 of a second advantage to Miko Nassi, according to our timing and scoring screens. Now, the issue is that the finish line is quite a way before the start line at this racetrack, Camp. It's not like at Indianapolis yesterday, where the yard of bricks defines both the start and the finish of the race. The finish line is way before the start line here, and that is what is going to become important.
Well, that it is, and that's, well, first of all, that screws everybody up, so they should not do that. But ultimately, though, Leber having to wrangle that car back under control, it did not look like it wanted to cooperate coming up back onto the what would be the racetrack from the second chicane, but Leber able to keep everything under control with Miko Nassi in hot pursuit. And also, though, that second pack is going to be catching Ricardo Faria. I'm just not sure if they have enough time to catch him, but the lap times are almost 2 seconds a lap difference.
Well, the gap is currently 1.6 seconds. Last time by, it for Ricardo Farah was a 2-minute.209 lap at 158.9 for Karthik Pai. They are 3 wide behind him almost, however, as this one is really hotting up down into Ascari once again, Cam.
It is getting very hotting up as Mikko Nasi almost looking. He tries to go on the outside of the exit to. All right, now these guys are slicing and dicing. The gloves have come off now. Mikko Nasi and Felipe Leibert are now fighting as hard as they can as they are going to be going into the Parabolica. It's starting to become a little bit of a street battle here, exiting that corner. They both weaved in different directions, and they're both trying to break each other's exit.
Ladies and gentlemen, this final lap is brought to you by halogen ovens, because if you have a halogen oven, you can shake and bake. As these drivers head themselves down in towards the Curva Grande for the final time in this race. The gap at the line, well, it won't be important. It will be about 4 tenths of a second. Mikko Nasi behind Felipe Leibert, behind Karthik Pai, Peter Clayton side by side, 3 wide at the line, coming down to take the white flag, Cam.
Yes, and now this is going to be quite dramatic. It's going to be hard to see what we can see in both teams as Nasi is behind Philip Leibert, as it does look like Aurelian Bonnet has Pai on his inside there, and Klaassen, Malakas, and Hallberg are all going to be trying as hard as they can to try and keep up with these guys. But Nasi looking to the inside through the chicane. They will go 2 wide, well, the second chicane, and ultimately, though, Felipe Leibert will lose the position to Mikko Nasi. That could have been the race.
Well, but we'll ride on board with Felipe Leibert. The gap is 8 tenths of a second. It might be unsurmountable there. Mikko Nasi making the perfect move at the perfect time. Felipe Leibert will have the draft. He pushes wide on the exit of Lesmo number 2. This could be all over now. Here is the gap to the race lead as they work themselves down towards the Ascari chicane. We've had some great races this weekend here on RaceSpotTV, iRacing Live and PSR TV. We thought this would be a close one. It might well be that Mikko Nasi's move down into the first Lesmo would be the decisive move of the race that stops him being under pressure in the final corner. Behind, they are still going at it. We keep it down into the Parabolica. This is clearly Mikko Nasi's race, but you can see behind Aurelian Bonnet, Ricardo Farah, Karthik Pai. That one is just beginning as they're going to go 2 wide into the final corner. We are down to the final corner
it's gonna go
here
3 wide.
as they're going to come down, and it's going to be, well, let's ride along board then with Aurelian Bonnet as he works himself down in towards that final corner. And I think I might have just done myself a Marty Reid there. Ricardo Farah on the exit of the final corner. This is where things are going to get really interesting. Who is going to do what? The white flag is out. 1 more lap to go. Mikko Nasi, Felipe Leibert, 5 tenths of a second. Anything can happen here. Aurelian Bonnet versus Farah. There's 3 tenths separating those drivers. What a race we've got going on here, Cam.
They are, and they look like they're going to go 5 wide. They're thinking about it. No, they don't do that, guys. They're going to go 3 wide. Okay, good. Everyone's heads are calm. It is the final lap, but you got a lot of time to do this as they're going to go 3 wide into turn number 1. Boy, this is getting real dramatic real quick.
Look at that. There are 5 drivers separated by just 0.2 of a second according to our timing and scoring screen. Look at all of these drivers ahead. Felipe Leibert, Mikko Nasi. Felipe Leibert has got himself past Mikko Nasi right now. Look at these drivers going through the chicane, but Felipe Leibert moving himself back to the point. This might not be the best opportunity because Mikko Nasi is only 3 tenths of a second back. Down into Lesmo number 2 they go. Down on board, we ride with Mikko Nasi. He has got the perfect opportunity on the exit cam of the Ascari chicane.
Oh, that he does, and we'll have to see. As we've seen, Mikko Nasi has been able to pass on the inside of Parabolica. We'll have to see as Mikko Nasi making his intent very known, looking to go on the outside, catch him under braking. As he does, he will pick up that position, but that'll allow Leibert to have the run coming through this exit here towards the Parabolica. This is going to be very dramatic, Will, very quickly as Leibert is already trying to sneak up behind the rear end of Nasi, and they're going to be coming right down to Parabolica.
Well, here comes Felipe Leibert then. Down to the inside into the final corner he comes. Felipe Leibert is technically ahead as they work themselves into the Parabolica for the final time. 1 corner left to go. It's Felipe Leibert's corner as they head themselves out of the final corner for the final time down towards the start finish line. In the end, it's going to be an easy-ish victory for Felipe Leibert. Nasi is coming back. Will he take it up the line? The answer is going to be... Felipe Leibert wins it by 66 1/10 thousandths of a second. This is our third race in 2 days where the winner has been decided by less than 1/10 of a second. Third place will go to this man, Orion Bonnet. Fourth place,
look at that
according
ending,
to our
too.
timing and scoring there, to Karthik by Ricardo Ferrer. What a race we have just had here today, Cam.
My goodness gracious, great balls of fire. And to think we almost tried to run this thing with the chicanes. Boy, that is an amazing finish. My goodness, the first pack, as it were, coming in through, also very dramatic there, as Aurelian Bonnet was able to snip on the outside line from Karthik Pai, third position. Boy, that's a good racing right there, and ultimately everyone managing to keep their cars relatively clean. We barely had any accidents at all whatsoever, Will.
Yeah, we had a couple on the first lap of the race, and then after that, it was pretty clean all race long. We're getting ourselves another look then. Karthik Pai side by side with Orion Bonnet down towards the line. What a weekend we have had, Cam. What a weekend. We're showing you our final race results here up on your screen. And 66 1,000ths of a second, according to our timing and scoring. What a weekend it has been. We have had 3 races in a row. 2 iRacing.com Indianapolis 500s, and now the Skip Barber 2K World Cup with a finishing distance less than 1/10 of a second.
Apparently, it doesn't matter what car you're in; you will manage to file down the times to as minimal as you can go. Miko Nasi, maybe not celebrating the win, but certainly knocking down some of those barriers there as he does his little thing. But now he's pulled off. But wow, what a win for Philip Leibert! What a great win for him right there. It was all just a matter of pulling off the strategy and executing, and ultimately, Will, that is what won the day as he managed to get that faster pit stop. He was just on the ball, and ultimately, Philip will come away with the win.
Let's take a moment to step aside, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back with more after this. We need to take a breath. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what about that? It has been an absolutely amazing weekend of action here on RaceSpotTV. We have had so much going on since Friday night. We've had ourselves 2 amazing iRacing.com Indianapolis 500s. We've had the Spirit of VLN series. And now, to cap it all off, the Skip Barber 2K World Cup produces arguably its finest performance in series history. What a race! Philippe Leibert claiming victory by 66 1,000ths of a second at the line. Now, timing and scoring is a little bit different depending on what you look at, but Philippe Leibert is your winner in what was almost your 3rd photo finish of the weekend, Cam.
What an exciting finish, and not just the duel in the front, but also that pack finish. Karthik Pai ending up losing out a podium position to Aurelian Bonet on the final corner on the outside. What an exciting finish there. And ultimately, though, some clean racing all throughout, and it was a massive strategy in not only the draft, but in car placement. And I think, Will, that is one of the big lessons of the Skip Barber in learning the car and also the execution of the professionals in these cars.
Now, we've got a chance to talk to the driver who came home with the win here today. Philippe Leber, it's been all season long, you've been battling with Miko Nassi on that battle on pit road. The one time that you beat him out of pit road is the one time you didn't need to, but what a race it's been here. It's been fast, it's been crazy, it's been exciting since the drop of the green flag. Take us through your experience.
Well, the strategy was just to stay with Miko and see when he pitted, so I could follow him in. I knew he was going to pit very early, so I was expecting that, but he tricked Brian. But me and Ricardo followed him, so we could stay in a pack until the end. We lost Ricardo. I don't know why that happened. I think someone who was a lap down got in the way or something. And in the end, yeah, it was just me and Miko, and Miko beat me once on the line when he was not leading in Parabolica. So I think he expected to do the same thing, but I got well, I took the corner pretty well, the last one, and I had a good run, and he couldn't beat me at the line. So,
well, it looked for a moment as if you were safe. Then it looked for a moment that Miko Nassi was safe in those last 5 laps, and none of these drivers were really prepared for running this layout with the chicanes. How much different is it compared to running that standard chicane layout that we normally see at Monza ever since the late 1970s?
well, it's more a strategic game, but the biggest difference is braking for Lasmo 1. You have to brake a lot earlier because you're doing 126 miles an hour in that car, and it's a tricky corner. And another problem is that we were running the GP layout all week, and I was at one point I was braking for the chicane, but there was no chicane, so that's when Miko got passed in the last 2 laps.
Well, we were talking about that one actually in our pre-race show. It's been an entertaining day. Of course, there's one round of the championship to go. Yes, you can't win the championship, but what can you do in the final week of the season here in the Skip Barber 2K World Cup as we head from Monza over to the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace?
Well, I'll try to win as I do every week, but yeah, Miko is quicker, and this track was different. It was more strategy than speed, so I'll do my best, but well, he's just quicker. I have to accept that.
Philippe Leber coming home with the victory here as he claims victory in what has been the craziest race of the season in that number 2 car. And we've got Cam Walsh, and he has stood by with the Aussie Orion Bonnet in the number 30 car.
Yes, Aurelian, you managed that pack there that was started in 4th back. Ultimately, you guys were able to chase down the single car of Ricardo Faria, and ultimately, you were able to come away in 3rd position. How'd your race go?
Well, let me tell you, it feels like a win, that's for sure. My first podium in the 2K Cup. That was great. Thanks for the TNT Racing guys, for believing in me and helping me out and improve up to this level from practically nothing when I joined the team.
Now,
okay, go ahead. As far as the race go, I have to hand it to Kartik, Paul Malokas, Ricardo Faria, Peter Klassen. They were top-notch drivers, really, really classy. We gave each other space. It was 3 wide, 4 wide in the straight at some points, but everyone raced smartly. And I can't take too much credit for the strategy because I actually thought there was 1 more lap to go.
Yeah, and so you ended up going on the outside of Parabolica and making up the position with just the narrowest of margins. I mean, I don't even have the gap on my screen, but I know that you guys basically ran to the 10th the same lap time. Taking it through the last lap, did you expect to make a position up on the outside of Parabolica?
That was pretty much the plan, but for the following lap, I thought there was one more to go. Actually, I realized I had something to play there when we caught Ricardo, and the force of the pack sort of swallowed him in. I think what really made the difference actually over the last few laps is I think I was pretty much the only one trying to take Curva Grande on the outside, and that let me stay in a good strategic spot for the few turns that this track has, and I think that played a big role. In Curva Grande, Kartik was absolutely perfect. He gave me the room, and I have to hand it to him.
Well, Aurelian Bonnet with TNT Racing coming home in third position, his first podium of this season. And ultimately, though, who do you like to thank?
I really want to thank all the team at TNT Racing. We're a great team. Everyone is helping each other out. There's a lot of support there. We run different series. You had some guys in the VLN yesterday. I run the Skippy. We got championship drivers in the F1 series. It's a really great bunch to be around, and I can't thank them enough for teaching me all they had.
Can I ask you one question? Are they dynamite?
We are dynamite because we are TNT Racing.
Hey, there you are, Cam.
There you go. Okay, no, that's very good. Best of luck going into Interlagos. In case people weren't able to understand the track that Will said, it's Interlagos. So best of luck there, and we'll certainly see you there.
It's the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's Interlagos.
Andreas Morton, number 35 car, coming home rear end of the top 10. Now, Andreas, it's been a crazy old race for you today. You finished 12 seconds behind the race leader, but in a nice little battle going on with Jan Halberg, also with Chris McGowan. It seems to be pack racing was the order of the day. How did it go for you?
Oh yeah, it was a crazy race with the absolutely crazy start as well. Started 15th and just barely got out of the first lap incident there. And hurt my front wing a bit. I think my pace was a bit down the first stint, but got the fast repair and got back out again. Had good pace again. So yeah, it was a great race. It was great to be back for one of race and have this much fun. I think maybe if I'd gotten a better qualifying lap in, I might have been able to get into that pack up front in the battle for the podium positions. But yeah, overall just a fun race. That's all I can take away from this. I think that's the general consensus around here.
Start, or was that the issue of the restart? Because of course the start, everyone's from a standing start. You can basically do your own destiny. On the restart, however, because it was single file, it makes it very difficult for you to really be there in contention.
Yeah, that's true. That probably made it a bit harder to climb up a couple of positions and be in that front pack. Yeah, that's true. But I'm quite happy we ended up having that rolling start, because I do think that was a lot safer in the end, really.
Well, it's been an entertaining race. Just the emotions. I mean, there's one question we've got to ask you here. You came into this race thinking there's going to be some 3 chicanes. There's only 1 chicane. How tough is it to adapt, both with the fact that you got a faster car, but also you're used to coming down in towards turn 1, braking down to 50 miles an hour, turning right, turning left, then getting out on the pass. Now I want you to go flat out into the Curva Grande.
Well, the track is a lot easier this way, but that's only when you're hot lapping. There was actually quite some interesting elements, at least coming into the first corner, where if you went too wide and you had gotten a good toe down the front stretch, you wouldn't really be able to go full throttle through there. And yeah, it was just about trying to lift as little as you could and still, hold the pace coming down to the Lesmos. And then, of course, the second chicane, which is now gone, could also be a very dangerous situation if you were too wide there. So the real challenge was how the race dynamics played out, not really how to drive the actual track. And that was an unknown for everyone. So I can't believe we got through that so well.
Well, congratulations on finishing the race here today. It was the rear end of the top 10 for Andreas Morsch. We have got a driver or so left to talk to. Ryan Delvin, of course, was involved in an incident back at the mid-ish part of the race with Brian Dahl. He stood by with Cam Walsh.
Yes, Ryan, you ended up making the decision to not pit early as everyone else did, and that ended up catching you out when when a main pack of cars, 4 or 5 cars, all caught you. Is it real tough being that sole car on your own, getting swallowed up by those multiple cars?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just caught off guard by that, and then when they all went into pit, I decided to stay out for one more lap, and I was fiddling with my fuel, trying to get my calculations down correctly for what happened. I ended up doing a self-spin into Lesmo 1, so that was a bit disappointing. But I think I was up to about 3rd at that point, so I was shooting for a top 10 finish here.
Well, and unfortunately, getting caught out by those faster cars after that spin and that the damage you gave yourself collected Brian Dwell. But ultimately, though, it's some tough luck here at Monza without the chicanes. You looking forward to Interlagos?
Yeah, absolutely. I ran a part-time schedule this season, and I plan on running full-time next season, so I'm looking forward to that more. Just getting back into a regular groove. I haven't really had that much time this season to practice, so...
Well, very good, Ryan. We'll see you hopefully maybe if Interlagos, if not, hopefully all next season, which will be, of course, here with us in the Skip Barber 2K series, as of course we're all big fans of here. So hopefully we'll get to see you then. Anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I would just like to thank Philippe. Really, for what he's done for this series, it's absolutely magnificent. And for you guys at RaceSpot, Will especially, I'm a big fan of you guys. You guys do a really great job for our races and all the races in general. So just thank you guys very much.
No, it's a pleasure of ours. So, well, Will, let's see. I don't believe we have anyone else, do we?
No, we don't. It'll be interesting. We just want to show you, because I promised you, I'm going to show you a super slow-mo replay of cars and their back tyres going off down in what was normally the second chicane. But, well, Cam, we did a little bit of shaking today, did a little bit of baking, but we did get ourselves Philippe Labor to victory lane in what has been a very entertaining race. We're actually just getting ourselves like super slow-mo replay there of cars. Just the compression, it lifts the back end of the car and the right rear just ends up flying into the air, and we can actually get ourselves another look there. And this is Paul Malokas. The back end of the car actually did step out for these drivers in this race. The amount of car control these lot had was insane.
Yeah, it's very good, especially that's a very fast section, a quick left, quick right. And, boy, I have to say that was quite an exciting event, especially going over those humps at the second chicane. Even if it wasn't planned, it sure brought us a great package and something that we sure love to see here in the booth. And hopefully the people watching and on the YouTube and people talking with us there enjoyed it very much so. But we'll have to end up having to see at Interlagos. There won't be as many bumps as this, but certainly drafting as well as excellent car control will take precedent, especially going into that turn 1.
Well, yeah, the center S is what drivers have to look forward to next week. Thank you very much to everyone who's been a part of our coverage here. Once again on RaceSpotTV, 11 rounds out of 12 are scored complete now in the Skip Barber 2K World Cup, which of course lives here on RaceSpotTV. For more information about the Skip Barber 2K World Cup, head over to 2kworldcup.com. It's open to all drivers who have themselves over 2,000 iRating on the iRacing.com service and are a participant in the Skip Barber Racing School Series. However, don't forget, in 1 week's time, we head ourselves over to the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace. Tomorrow night, we do it all again for the Club UK and Ireland Skip Barber Racing School Series. And then the following Saturday, we head ourselves over to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for the 8th round of the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series. Myself, Will Vincent, and from the one and only Cameron Walsh, we shall talk to you all next time. Bye-bye.